our travel meeting here for our trip to England, our tour of English airfields, World War II airfields. We have some wonderful travelers with us. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Good to see you all. Dave.
Hey,
Olson, it's been a long time. Good to see you.
good to see you too, Todd.
I think you've retired since I last saw you.
It'll be 2 years next week.
Oh my gosh, how great. Are you enjoying it?
Absolutely.
Oh, that's
Busier than
terrific.
ever.
Good. That's good. Oh man, this will be fun. All right.
Hi, everybody.
I think we have a quorum. We have a program coming up on the Electoral College at 7 p.m. It's a discussion. It's going to be a 20-minute presentation on the Electoral College by Greg Yost, and then we're opening it up for discussion and debate. Troubled waters, I know, but I thought it's such a fascinating thing. I thought it would be a good civic duty to do that. So I'll need probably 10 minutes before 7 o'clock. So if we could have this conversation and wind up at 6:50, that would be good. Glenn,
that'd be great. We need a civility break in between meetings.
Yes, we do.
Yes, yes. Also known as a biological break.
Civility break. Glenn, do you have an agenda for this meeting, or are we just opening up for discussion?
Well, I don't see Laura on.
I see Laura. Hi,
Oh,
Laura.
Hi, Laura. Okay.
Hi, Laura.
Great. So my agenda is to turn it over to Laura. No, I'm just...
Okay, I'll just warn you that when we did our departure meeting 2 weeks ago, it went 2.5 hours. So
No, we don't do 2.5 hour meetings.
He wants the 45-minute version.
well, there was coffee and donuts involved. So
Surprise us on the trip. We don't need to know all of it.
Well, to be serious, last time we were on a couple weeks ago, we walked through the agenda and we made some edits to the agenda. I went through it. If you notice, I put in a link for each of the major places that we're stopping. So there's a link to the Oxford bunker. All you got to do is hit that link and it takes you right to their website, to the Duxford museums, the Imperial War. So hopefully that's helpful to you in terms of looking at each website and just, seeing before you see it, seeing what they have on the website. Okay. Corrected a couple of things, tried to answer a couple of questions that were put forth. So maybe we ought to start with, is there anything on the agenda that you would like to discuss? And then the second thing would be, and this is Laura's document, the document that was sent out about sort of a checklist of what to be thinking about a few weeks ahead of the departure date. So
My question, Glenn, is trivial, but to make it easy on your directive for packing, I assume everything we're doing is casual dress.
good question. What, Todd, you're the expert on this. I was planning on, my bathing suit and some sandals.
Well, I just Googled the weather in mid-September and it's 50s and 60s. So you better take one of those old-fashioned bathing suits.
I'm guessing it's a travel casual, jeans and t-shirts and polo shirts and
there you go. That's what I saw too. There it is. Yeah.
This is weather.com. You can see high of 64, 64, 64, 63, 63, 63, 62, and then lows 49. So kind of like what we've had, well, cooler than what we've had today. But then if you go to AccuWeather, it's a little bit more optimistic. So you see, I think, a high of 70 at one point. And this is London. This is London.
I thought it's chinos, jeans, polo shirts, and windbreaker. Does that sound good to everybody?
Perfect.
something that prevents you from getting wet for sure, right? A good raincoat of some kind.
I just wanted to make sure us girls had everything coordinated here.
Got it.
I'm going to jump in here real quick.
Sure.
This is Laura. I have had this question come up. One remark about jeans. Jeans are Americans' favorite business casual, travel casual. Jeans don't dry out if they get wet. So I would, and somewhere along this itinerary, you're going to have some showers. I would encourage you, if possible, to leave the jeans behind in favor of what I call technical gear, which can be, think hiking, Columbia sportswear kind of stuff. You can also find stuff at Under Armour. And honestly, I am a big fan of recycle, reuse, especially even with men's clothing. The thrift shops in our area always have golf slacks, which are great. They compress, they're easy to pack, they don't wrinkle, and they dry out quickly. In terms of needing any dress clothes, no. Your days are going to be up early, early breakfast, out the door on the coach by 8:30, and you're going to have a full day of touring whatever you're doing. You will get back to the hotels sometimes as late as 6. You'll have time to go back to your room, unload your backpack or your camera or whatever you had on the coach for the day, throw some cold water on your face, maybe change into a different pair of shoes or something, and then you're going to be right back out to do a group meal together. There is nowhere on the itinerary where there's any kind of dress code required.
Good. As long as we don't have to dress up, I can handle the rest. Thank you. Thank you both.
Okay. So back to the agenda. Is there anything anybody wanted to ask about the agenda? I highlighted in red the changes we made from the first draft of the agenda. So
No, it's good. Thanks, Glenn.
the other item I would mention, in that same email advising a couple of weeks ago with the agenda, I asked people to send me any information on their loved ones' World War II service. And I've gotten a lot, and I'm compiling a list and a document with some stories. I'm not doing any independent research, but I'll have something to share with everybody so everybody can understand, what other relatives, what their service was in World War II. And there's already some great stories. Mm-hmm. Is Hans Stoll on tonight?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Hans's story is great because he covered both sides of the table, if you will. His wife's father served in the U.S. Army, and of course, his father served in the Luftwaffe. So it's really interesting. There's some really other interesting stories. So, for those of you who want to, when we have a chance on the bus or over a meal, and you want to, maybe dive a little deeper into any of your loved one's stories, you'd be welcome to. So that being the case, I don't know, Todd, you want to mention to them what I just talked about with you before everybody came on, or is that too?
Yeah, I sent out an email, I believe, about having an author join us on Sunday night, and that's September 15th in Cambridge. He's the author of this book, Tripe and Trotters, Tales of a Post-War Northern Childhood. A lot of it covers what life was like in England, in Northern England, during World War II. He is a popular speaker in the Cambridge area. And it just so happens that a member of the VBC who's going to be in England at the same time we are, she asked me, she was friends with him. Hey, John Kramer, is John here? Maybe John can't join us tonight. I think it's John Kramer. John Kramer is a part of this group who knows each other. We've arranged to have Brian meet us and give us his talk. My thought at first was that we would meet in a meeting room. I've reserved a meeting room at the Hilton where we're staying in Cambridge. And my thought was the Veterans Breakfast Club will get the equivalent of beer and pizza, whatever that is, bring it in and would have dinner together if you'd like. This is a dinner on your own night on Sunday. And then would kind of have dinner together and then have Brian give us his presentation and talk with him. Since then, however, Glenn alerted me to the Eagle Pub, which is 0.2 miles down the road. I don't know if any of you have ever been there. You have.
Yeah.
Who's that?
Well, I have a friend who's real involved in P-51s. And so he took me there on a trip that we made jointly. We weren't together for a long time, but this was about 15 years ago. And I just saw him recently, and he said, "You got to go back there. It's real important to stop," because my dad was in Bodney, England, and he undoubtedly was there at one time or another. So it's a great place.
And it sounds like local color versus a conference room or a meeting room. So that,
Yeah.
we'll get the local people there too.
There's a wall there where many World War II aviators have signed it, both back when they used to hang out there during the war and since then. And I have a video of Lucky Luckadoo signing it a couple of years ago because he didn't sign it way back in the day. So, it kind of fits our theme, if you will. And I think it'd be really cool if we can pull it off.
Oh, yeah, it was a hangout. It was a hangout during the war for American GIs. So, yeah, I think we have to go there. I mean, I definitely want to see it. And I think a Sunday night, group dinner there would be wonderful. Brian, I'm not sure if he will require or really want to have, I know that he has slides that he wants to show. So I've reserved the room and slide projector and all that kind of stuff. But I should talk to Brian and let him know we'd like to meet in the Eagle Pub if that would be okay. Ed.
Yeah, this question probably pertains only to me, but my doctor wanted to know if we had any medical people aboard our group.
We do, Ed. Can you guess if you look at the screen closely and guess who it is?
The gal that's smiling.
So,
I'm pointing to her.
He's hiding your face.
I'm really good at Band-Aids and handing out aspirin, but I'm not sure who.
How about this one?
Yeah, that's her, Terry.
Okay.
Terry? Oh, yes.
Terry Swank,
Okay.
Army professional.
My doctor just wanted to know, and I thought there would be, but he'll be happy to know that.
She's a physician's assistant extraordinaire.
Yes.
Thank you.
So why did your doctor ask that question?
Well, I happen to be 102 years old, and he's afraid of something would happen. It would blow up all the problems of the other people on the tour. And he said there's a lot of problems and emergencies, and you need some medical person there to help overcome all the medical problems that you find over in London and England and so forth. So that was his concern. It wasn't his concern about whether I was able to make the trip or not. It was if something might happen. So,
Well, there'll be none of that.
okay.
Maybe we ought to know the equivalent of 911 for emergency, the number in England. So this way, if something does happen, somebody plops over, we can make the call.
Just
And
put a
we-
blanket over them.
Area isn't close by.
We have Dave Colson. We have Linda. Hi, Linda. Linda Roberts.
Who are all medical people?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
But I think that number is 999 in England.
Thank you. As long as it's not 666. Might get the wrong emergency person.
Now, there are 17 of us, I believe, flying on British Airways 170 out of Pittsburgh to Heathrow. It departs at 10:05 p.m. on September 11th. I will be there camped out right near the British Airways desk, the check-in area, before 7 p.m. I suggest that you get there 3 hours ahead of time. And I also suggest that you should plan on just printing out your boarding pass when we're there. I will probably check us all in if I can. We may not be able to. Sometimes you can't on international flights. but plan on on checking in when we're there. And all of you, or some of you, may have received an email from British Airways recently.
Okay.
And that's because I updated all our information, passport information, other information that was missing. And for some reason, it spit out an email to everybody. And I know with one travel group in particular, it designated Jack Buckler as the travel leader. So, and I will just
Okay.
emphasize, he is in no way close.
First in the alphabet.
Yeah, he is not a travel leader whatsoever. If you see Jack go one way, go the other. Okay. On.
Laura, all of our TSA pre-check numbers are in.
Yes, they're all in.
Good,
If you
thank
gave me a number, it's in.
Yeah, good. Thank you.
Todd, does the Gate 1 director have the flight numbers for those of us who are not going to be traveling with you, just in case there's a delay or something?
Oh, Dave, that is such good. That's a good question. I want to make sure that they do, and I want to make sure that I do, that
Okay.
I have the flight information for everybody who's flying. So if you're not flying on British Airways out of Pittsburgh to Heathrow on September 11th, please send me your flight information
Okay, sounds good.
so I can keep track of you and know when we're going to meet up with you.
The other
Thank you,
element, the other element of that is, some people like me are going over a few days early and then meeting at the airport, right? So for those who are going to already be in England, I'm going to share my, email and my cell phone number and that sort of thing. And I'll be in touch, Laura, correct me if I'm wrong, with the Gate 1 person. I'll have their contact information
Right.
so that, we can coordinate any issues that come up, right? Because flights get delayed, people get, stuck somewhere, whatever it might be. All right. So we'll try to maximize the flow of information so we can coordinate meeting at the right spot at Heathrow at the right time.
Yeah, I would suggest those who are not on this group flight with British Air, there are a couple of apps you can load, Flight Tracker, Flight Guru. For purpose of the tour manager, the tour manager is going to be looking for Glenn and Todd and that group of 18 to create the core meeting place. The other 12 folks, you want to take note of the group's flight information, what time they've landed, and what terminal they've landed in. It should be Terminal 2, but as Glenn just said, anything can happen with, air. And don't forget, we're traveling on 911/912. It doesn't take much of a hiccup that, a terminal could just have a flight in the air for an extra 30 or 40 minutes while they check on something. But the group, anyone traveling independently, please make note of the British Air flight information for the larger group and what time that plane lands and what the arrival terminal is. And then it'll be up to you to try to make your way to that larger group, because they will want to stay as a pod. They won't want to branch out trying to go find different people. It is a little hectic. We've never lost anybody in 13 years of doing this. The first thing you need to remember is turn your phone on. So if somebody's trying to reach you, your phone is on. And fortunately at Heathrow, you're talking, if you need help from an airport attendant of any kind, they speak English. So you're not having to overcome a language barrier. Just type up and ask if you can't find information, displayed on a board, or you can't get your phone to work, just ask. Because the timing of the rest of the day and the entries are fixed entries, because the Uxbridge bunker is small. And if there are other groups coming in that day, each group needs to try to hit their entry on time. So the group as a whole needs to be able to board the coach at Heathrow and get out in the time frame of the technical itinerary that the tour manager is going to have.
And Laura, just to make it clear, for those that are not in the Pittsburgh travel group,
Correct.
which I am not either, I'm one of the 12 or 13 that is not, I was going to try to get them to focus on finding me, right, or coordinating with me their arrival at Heathrow and try to get them the best information I can as to where to meet with the Gate 1 travel agent. Okay.
Glenn and Todd, are you comfortable emailing us your cell phone numbers just in case we're lost little children somewhere? We'll be able to call you.
Me?
Yeah, you and Glenn
Heck
too.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, here's my plan. You're going to all receive a text from me with a WhatsApp group invitation. And what you want to do is just click that invitation, and that'll take you, if you don't have WhatsApp on your phone already, it'll lead you to download WhatsApp, which is an app that will allow us to communicate via Wi-Fi when we're in England.
Great.
So that way, you know, you'll have my cell phone number when I send you the text, but you'll also have this WhatsApp that we'll be able to use like in airports or so. Yeah, absolutely. I will share everybody should share their emails or their phone numbers with each other.
Good.
I see John Kramer has had his hand up for a while. John?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I tuned in late. I just wanted to ask Todd, I got that email from British Airways. I don't need to do anything with that, do I? We're just going to get our boarding passes and stuff when we meet you at the airport.
Correct. Right.
Thank you.
And you said, I'm sorry,
Oh,
Todd.
I just had a comment. We're actually arriving, my son and I, at 10 o'clock in the morning in Terminal 2. Would it be better for us to just go to the hotel?
No. Laura, I'll let you explain.
Well, the itinerary is such that you're getting on the coach in Heathrow and you're headed to Uxbridge Bunker. And then from Uxbridge Bunker, you're going to the Royal Air Force Museum. And then your first overnight is well out of the city of London. So if you miss the coach, you'll have to make your way independently with an Uber or a hired driver to the hotel, but it's not in London proper. It's north of the city, headed towards Bletchley Park.
Thank you very much, Laura. And it's nice to see you. And thank you for the phone call yesterday.
Oh, you Ken?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Hi, Ken.
Yes. Hi.
Jim and Linda.
I'm not sure this is the right time to do it, but we were talking to some people with international travel, getting some suggestions, and they suggested considering wearing compression socks on the plane to avoid DVT problems going down the road. Is there any thoughts on that from anyone?
Yeah, I'd recommend it.
Yep.
I would recommend it.
My wife and I do it. We learned that on a 13-hour flight to Seoul, Korea.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea.
Anything else to take with us on the flight, or I mean, I'm not, you know, I haven't flown British Airways for 1,000 years. So what's it going to be like flying coach on British Airways? Meals, dinner, sleeping, things like that. What should we expect? What should we take with us?
You know, I haven't flown on British Airways in a long time, if ever. I don't remember the last time I did. But last time I flew, you know, overseas, it was a lot of like 2 major meals. It's a snack. Three.
I think you're gonna get dinner. What time's your flight depart?
10:05 p.m.
Then I'm not sure. I would assume you'll get a snack 11 o'clock, 11:30, and then you'll get breakfast when you land. Because it is it's not a 13-hour flight.
Yeah, it's not real long.
British Air is, the flight attendants on British Air, and the service is fabulous.
Yeah. That's what I would assume it would be great.
If you need American coffee in the morning, it will come, but they will be more inclined to give you tea. So you may have to ask for your coffee because they're tea drinkers.
Yeah. And you'll get
And-
probably a pillow and a blanket.
Yep.
And probably you know, what are they called? Earphones? Yeah,
They have
earbuds.
earbuds, and British Air's earbuds are going to have the very annoying cord. So if you've got Bluetooth earbuds and you want to listen to your favorite book or podcast, take your own earbuds, and try to avoid coffee and alcohol so that you can actually sleep a little bit.
Todd, Elise and I have traveled over to England on red eyes. We've made 2 flights over the past 2 years, and they've both been after 9:30. We received full dinner meals, and then had breakfast in the morning.
Okay.
The other thing is that on a couple of the flights, you do have movies to watch, but they were short of earphones. So if you have a corded earphone to plug in, it'll be helpful.
Got it. So bring a pair of earphones.
Right.
Just in case.
Yep.
Terry.
Did you request gluten-free meals?
Yes.
Thank you. You're awesome.
Thank you.
Were there any specific questions on the checklist that Laura had sent to us and I sent to all of you from Laura?
Jack.
No question, but a comment. I have this little battery pack that is useful in recharging your cell phone if you're using that to take pictures.
Yes.
Yes.
Portable battery pack is
That's a good idea.
very smart. And I don't know if your coach, a lot of the European coaches now do have Wi-Fi on board. What we've experienced is when everybody hops on the coach and tries to get into the Wi-Fi, the bandwidth just isn't enough to hold much. So might not be able to actually do a lot depending on the strength of the Wi-Fi signal on the coach.
And just for those who have iPhones and cell phones, you can plug them direct. I mean, you need an adapter for the British 3-prong plug, but you can plug it directly in your room or anywhere in England, and it will automatically convert to 110 iPhones. If you take other personal things like curling irons and that sort of thing, you have to buy these little mobile travel transformers, but you don't need that for mobile phones.
Right. And this is the 3-prong adapter that you'll need in the UK right there. And I don't know if you'll see it and that's the adapter. If you want the converter with the adapter, you need either something like this, and this is the one I have. But I would think that the converter that Hans just mentioned, this would be a really good converter to get because it looks small, compact. It is a converter, just in case. So I could pass along. Yeah, I could pass along the links to these.
Well,
But again, you don't need that. All you need is an adapter for your cell phone.
And I've just heard of people who've run into misery with their cell phones ruined, even though they were supposed to.
Yeah, I'm one of those. So
Are you really? Maybe
yeah,
that's where I heard it.
I take a converter and an adapter.
Yeah, I use a converter just in case.
Yep.
That's always been our standard procedure. Use the converter. It's just safer.
Yep.
Hmm.
I agree.
Well, I got the 2-pack because of the smartwatch. We're going to want to charge both. So don't forget about that.
Yes.
Ed.
Does the same adapter work for shavers and electric toothbrushes?
Yes. Yes, it will. And I'm putting a link to each of these different kind of converters. They're the full converters rather than just the adapters here in the chat. So you could click the links and take a look at them.
Okay.
And Todd, I've always wanted to ask this during all of our various programs. This chat just disappears when we're done here. Is there a way to save the chat?
I could, I don't know on your end if there is a way you could see. I do have the chat, however. I do automatically save the chat. So I can send it out to everybody.
I think that'd be helpful.
Okay.
Will there be additional tipping of people, say at Uxbridge, Bletchley, that we have to figure out? Because in past trips, again, Elisa and I have just used charge cards and really haven't spent any British pounds. So, in getting some money here, I know we will be tipping the driver and the tour guide. I just wanted to know whether there were any additional people who will have to be tipped.
I'll throw that to Laura.
Laura, your call.
Well, I'm going to speak just to the Gate 1 itinerary arrangements because Todd and Glenn, the two of you, have added a lot of extras, and you may want to address that separately. There should be very little need for cash gratuities. However, that being said, I always keep some small bills of whatever currency in that country because you never know when somebody's going to go out of their way to help you. I've had somebody leave their passport in a locked safe in a hotel and off we go. And 4 hours later, we're on a coach, 200 miles away. When this person discovered they had left their passport locked in the safe in the hotel. So a driver brought that, and this gentleman paid for the service as well as a gratuity. So it's not, just carry some small bills because you just never know when somebody's going to go out of their way to help you with some, find a pharmacy.
Yep, exactly. And we last trip to Vietnam, we had that happen 3 times.
Yeah.
Pharmacy, somebody rode their motorbike to the Hanoi airport to give us, to bring us something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tons.
What you say is interesting because I remember reading in the documents that Gate 1 sent out, there was a section on tipping, and it had recommended amounts for tour guides, drivers, and several other categories. You're saying we don't have to have cash in our wallets for the tour guides that we're going to have or anything?
Most of the itinerary, you have museum docents, and in many cases, they're not permitted to accept a gratuity. They're there for the passion of the history. They love sharing it. You don't have a walking tour of a city that's being led by an independent guide. I mean, this is a very custom tour. Probably the language that Gate 1 is sending is pretty much boilerplate. So for their commercial tours, where there's a walking tour of a city garden, then, that group would want to tip that tour leader in the city garden. We don't have that kind of an itinerary. Okay. I will give this some thought as we sit here and continue, but I can't think of anything on the itinerary aside from the tour manager at the end of the tour and the driver. You should have the same driver from start to finish, unless, for some reason they have to relieve the first driver. And the drivers and the tour managers love getting a gratuity in a envelope and a handwritten note from you, rather than a large envelope that's been passed around the bus and everybody throws their money in. They just love that personal, how they made your tour special. So, taking a couple of envelopes and little thank you notes and use that approach. The tour managers, Todd's been on 3 or 4 tours now. The tour managers are exceptional. They don't sleep the whole time. They are taking care of so many things behind the scenes. And the same with the bus driver. And you will no doubt have places where somebody has spotted something that we might be able to go to this little air base. It's only 10 kilometers. off the beaten path. Could we add this stop? And if the tour manager and the bus driver and Todd and Glenn can work together and make that happen, the drivers almost always do. I mean, you have to remember these drivers and these tour managers, they deal with college groups of 18 to 22-year-old college students. They deal with high school marching band groups and musical groups. They deal with, you know, a lot of cathedral groups, faith-based. This American military history is right up their alley. I mean, it's going to be very different from most of the group tours that they do. So they're going to embrace it. I would guess both the tour manager and the bus driver are just going to love hearing your stories and maybe sharing some of their own from their own families.
Oh, yeah.
Laura, did I understand correctly that they would prefer pounds and not dollars?
They do not want dollars. They want pound sterling.
Okay, so Todd, you put that suggested tipping page on the screen there. So our tour manager, at the end of the tour, we should give that person an envelope with the British equivalent of $10 per person per day.
Correct.
Correct.
Okay.
And that'd be 7 days. And remember, it's easy to change money when you're in England also.
Yeah.
So I think I'll try and get some pounds before we leave. But if I don't, I won't worry about it too much.
Okay. So tour manager and driver, the local guide, what I just heard, we don't need to worry about typically.
We don't. I think in London, there might be a blue bus guide, which is required by the city of London, that you have a certified guide.
And Laura, you're correct. You know, Hans, it's gonna, I think we're gonna probably find out on the ground. Our tour manager will say, hey, you need to tip this guy. I think most of the guides will not be tipped, but every once in a while, if there's somebody special he adds on, or, you know, something that we haven't anticipated, be ready with, you know, the equivalent of $5 to tip if necessary.
Yep.
And there are, like I think Todd alluded to, I mean, there's ATMs all over the place, just like here. So
yeah,
you need an extra $50 worth of pounds.
Yep.
Yeah. And Dale Gower's a money bags. He always brings like tons of cash. And I'm rooming with him, so you know.
Does he charge a service fee?
No.
Oh.
He rarely even knows that you're taking anything.
I'm rooming with you too.
I just looked and the pound is 76 cents to the dollar, which is a big change from what it used to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, one other thing I would mention in the email I sent, I attached a newsletter to that if you had a chance to look at it. And that was the friend of ours from the 100th Bomb Group, Nancy Putman, who's very close to the museum there. And she sent me that actual museum quarterly newsletter, which I thought was interesting, a lot of detail in it, and thought it would help you better appreciate the museum.
No, it's the newsletter I just got. I've got the mail. It has a link to this.
Is that the Thorpe Abbott's one, Glenn?
Yeah. Yeah, I figured what they called it.
I think you just wrote in.
It was attached to what I sent.
Yeah.
The Thorpe Abbott's, and it's not called the Thorpe Abbott's newsletter, but
Yeah, something like that.
something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to call your attention to it because I know sometimes people don't always see the, the attachments.
Can we talk about the air show a little bit? As some of you, I think what Todd and Glenn have said, some of you have had parents, uncles, grandparents who have served. We have had people take one of those passport holder pouches that hangs in a lanyard around your neck. And they've taken the old black and white photo of their loved one and a little bit of service information. And they've actually worn that. We've had people wear it the whole trip. Because it is a point of attraction for people. Because remember, when you're at the air show, you're with like-minded people who are, RAF and United States Army Air Corps enthusiasts. And if a couple of British folks see you and they're with their grandchildren and you've got this lanyard hanging around your neck with your father's history, it is going to be an instant conversation. And children in Europe are brought up with great appreciation for how the American military helped during World War II. We had 3 World War II veterans with us in 2015 when we were at the Duxford show in July, and they were absolutely swarmed by people. And other folks whose fathers had served had hats on. It was just really heartwarming to see the kind of response from the attendees at the air show. So don't be shy at the air show about showing the service of your loved one.
And a great suggestion here from Jim to me. I think it is a good idea to have a list of your medications, allergies, contact list. It may be a good idea even to have maybe scans of cards of your, driver's license, insurance card, passport.
Take a picture of them.
Yeah. Scan or a picture of them. You might want to print it out,
Zach and I were just talking about that today of taking a picture of our COVID immunization cards that we have.
They're old.
Yeah. I don't think that'll be an issue, but
yeah, never know.
The version will be available before we go.
Yeah.
That's what I understand. I think as early as next week or the first week of September.
Yeah, all 3 of the manufacturers.
Yeah.
The booster?
Yeah, the new with the variants involved. Yeah.
So let's see, it'll be ready like after Labor Day?
They said next week. What Glenn said.
Oh, next week. Okay.
That's what I understood. Now, the question is always, does your individual pharmacy that you go to, did they get their shit?
Yeah.
But I plan on trying to get that later shot before I leave.
It would be a good idea, I would think. How long does it take to, take effect? 2 weeks?
At least. I mean, yeah. I mean, it's not perfect timing. It would have been better to have this shot, 3 or 4 weeks ago.
Right.
Fully in your system by the time we get to England. But
right.
I think it's better than not having the shot. Just my opinion, my high level medical opinion. I went to college with a bunch of guys who went to med school, so I really know this stuff.
Let's talk about medications real quick because I had this come up. For your checked bag, your gels and your liquids need to go in your checked bag. That includes like eye drops. But if there are gels or liquids that are in prescription form that you need to have in your carry-on bag, please, it needs to be in its original container and if at all possible, the original prescription from your physician. Just 9 times out of 10, you're not going to be asked. But if you get the TSA agent who didn't get enough sleep or something and they ask you for your documentation, be ready with it. Pills, tablets that are prescription are not the issue. It's liquids and gels. And just remember, you're traveling on 9/11. So security may be a little tighter as it should be.
And Laura, your advice was not to check luggage. Is that still your advice? Just to travel with a...
If you can go in a carry-on, go for it. absolutely. The only downfall is in every photo you're wearing the same clothes, but
Well, the other downfall is
Way
you're
it is
dragging
now.
a bag through the airport.
Well,
and
I
this
do
is
take 4 containers of deodorant, so I think it works okay.
right. This is for the ladies out there. I've had women on a 2-week Western European military history tour, women in a carry-on. So it can be done, ladies.
Yes. Yes,
It can be done. Same black slacks, 3 different scarves, white, purple, yellow shirt, go. Yeah. If you can do a carry-on, that's awesome.
That's my wardrobe right there.
Perfect.
Except I have 5 different scarves.
There you go.
Twice as much clothes as I own, so I'm good.
Right.
Doug.
Yeah. Clothes are overrated for traveling.
Do all the hotels have laundry facilities for us to do laundry?
Oh, I'd say probably not.
I'm going to say no, although the other thing, I think we're in the same hotel in Cambridge.
3 nights.
3 nights.
That would be the one, I would think.
And if there's not a self-serve laundry, Cambridge is a college town and a pretty good sized town. There is probably a takeout laundry service where you can leave your items on the morning of day 2, basically, 24 hours. So you'd have them back before you leave. It's not inexpensive, but it's there if you need to make use of laundry. I don't know if the hotel has self-service laundry or not.
Sink or shower.
Works. And a clothesline rope and a couple of clothespins. That's how I roll.
I think the overclothes are less important than bringing underwear. As long as you have enough clean underwear, you can wear your stuff overclothes over again.
I have no idea where that thumb's coming from on my picture.
It's yours, isn't it?
You got 3 minutes, Todd.
Okay. Jim, did you just give a thumbs down for something?
You know, this is a 1-year-old computer, and I don't know where those are coming from. I don't know how they're turned on. I don't know how they're turned off. We had fireworks the last time we were together behind me. So
yes,
but notice if we move around, the camera follows us.
Yes,
but there's no controls on the camera that we can get to. So we got an AI inside that is doing this. I was hoping we were the only ones that could see that, but I guess not.
A gremlin, as they used to say in World War II, in the Air.
So
Corps.
For those that
Digital
are
gremlins
at the Hilton Cambridge City Center, where we are for 3 nights, I looked at their website. They do list laundry, dry cleaning, ironing board, etc.
Okay.
Ironing board? What's an ironing board?
Yeah.
Right.
Thank you, Glenn.
How about hair dryers?
So Glenn,
Hair
does it
dryer
say,
there. Yes.
Glenn, does it say self-serve laundry or does it say laundry service?
Just says laundry. So my
So
guess.
my hunch is that's an outside service if it doesn't say laundry self-service.
Yeah, that's my guess too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Give them a bag full of laundry and you get it back the next day,
Yep.
and you take a second mortgage out on your house.
Yes.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right.
Right. Yeah. Yep.
Are we exhausted now?
Well, yeah. Do you want to meet one more time, like a week out before we go after Labor Day?
I'm good, but it's up to
Thumbs
you.
are up.
Oh my gosh, Jim, see, it is absolutely responding to your gestures. That's amazing.
I don't know.
It has to be.
Well, it's talk to the machine.
Wow, that's strange. I've got to look into that.
No, I want one.
Yeah, let me. I will send out, and let's say I'll send out an email with a meeting time that you could attend or not if you'd like. Just one last, maybe a week out from our trip or a few days before our trip. I'll look at the calendar, send out an email, and you could join if you'd like.
Yep.
All right.
Sounds good.
You both are working hard to make this effortless
Yes,
for us.
thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Laura.
This will be fun.
Oh yeah.
All right.
All right, see you all later.
Okay.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
Bye.
Everybody.